Jerry was one of these people that when he came to Lynn, he fit in immediately. He helped us really see that this is something we had been doing for a really long time, that social impact had been a part of who we were, a part of our ethos. And Jerry just helped to anchor it for us. He also helped to teach us that by bringing all of these things that we did together under one umbrella, under the Social Impact Lab, had tremendous power, and that we could really harness this power to do extraordinary things.
His impact can be seen in the devastation of his loss and how difficult it has been for students and faculty and staff and community members. We've received so many emails and phone calls from community members saying that they're really going to miss him and that he made such a huge impact in their lives.
Jerry, I hope you can hear this wherever you are. I still remember so well when we first met about 10 years ago at the University of the Pacific out in California. And just hearing stories about you from so many students, so many people that I admire and respect. They were talking about a legend. And I felt like the time when we first met, I was meeting a legend. And that's just proven so true every day over the past 10 years. From University of the Pacific to the Middlebury Institute out in Monterey, and then to finding your home at Lynn. You've touched thousands of students one by one, and that's the amazing thing. It's just happened one by one, building relationships with them, supporting them, encouraging them, and giving them the courage to do the things that they dream about doing with their lives. I'm fortunate to not only know you, but know so many of the people that you've touched, and to therefore experience firsthand the ripple effects that you've created. And those ripple effects extend on even though you aren't with us anymore.
One of my fond memories of Jerry was actually from the very beginning when he came to talk to our College of Business about the beginning of the Social Impact Lab and what that would mean. And just his enthusiasm alone and the dedication to the cause was really felt. And throughout the years, I just would think about him in the sense of his entrepreneurship and what's been going on since with everybody else in the team that has contributed and continues to contribute. So if his family's seeing this, just to say what a kind and lovely man Jerry was, and his legacy will definitely live on with our students as well as faculty and staff.
There are so many reasons to be thankful to know you, Jerry. For me, it's all the conversations, both constructive and affirming. It's the Persian carpet mouse pad that you sent me. It's the note on Bobby Kennedy that you sent me. It's the emails that you would send in all caps. When I got those, I knew they were really important, and those were messages of gratitude and affirmation. And those messages, knowing how much you've experienced and seen, to get a message of affirmation and encouragement from you means so much to me. So your mentorship has really guided me over the years, and all of us at MCN. I'm so grateful, and I love you and I miss you. But I also know that your legacy is going to impact generations and generations to come. So thank you for showing me what's possible when we center students, when we center young people. And really, it's an honor to know you.
Jerry always wanted students to find opportunities where they would be out in the field, boots on the ground, on the front lines, he liked to say, not in a back office getting someone a cup of coffee. His favorite thing to say was, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And I think he lived his life that way. He printed everything out and left printouts and articles for students to pick up in the Social Impact Lab. Even the pandemic couldn't stop Jerry from getting students opportunities. He created the VIP program, the virtual internship program, and students adored him. It was always interesting working with him, and I will miss seeing him walk down the hall briskly in his sweatpants and untucked shirt. I will miss you, Jerry.
My first descriptor of Jerry then will be how powerfully inspirational he was. And then secondly, Jerry had this talent for organization. It started, we saw it in his Peace Corps work and in microfinance at the University of the Pacific, and his organization of the Council for Social Entrepreneurship, who had their own international board, and his work at Pacific and at Lynn. He was always going, always creative, always energetic, always action-oriented. And we could say that the deep needs of the world were met with Jerry's gladness and joy.
Here at Lynn, his void is going to be very, very difficult to fill. And I think we're going to feel his legacy forever, because what he started here continues, right? The ripple effects of his impact will continue, just like they have for so many decades around the world. He really loved our students, and at his core, Jerry was a people person, a true people person. And those are very difficult to find in society today. And he really, really embodied what it is like to live a life of service and live a life for community rather than for oneself. And I always admired that, and I was always inspired by it.
Jerry loved talking to students. His heart was in how to support them. He put everything aside just for a student who walked in. I have no idea how he got any work done because he's constantly students are constantly walking into his office, and everyone knows they would leave with flyers and things. And every time he presented, and just the different programs at the lab, at that time it was Ambassador Corps, sending students to developing countries to intern for 3 months and really doing hands-on work. And we started developing like a virtual internship program, which is now really running and robust because of the work he put in. And other just initiatives on campus, like how can we get people internships with organizations they love? He was passionate about supporting entrepreneurs in South Florida. Like, how can Lynn, and he was so excited to meet executive directors of nonprofits. His heart was to help students and help people do good. And that was the work we did together. And kind of going off a tangent here, but every time he would present, he'd always start with this quote. He said, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." And it's just such a cliche saying in my thoughts, but I've now been thinking about it more than ever. And in thinking about his legacy, I think something that just comes to mind is this was his final gift to me. That in many regards, he was my comfort zone. And he's urging me and saying, "Jonathan, life doesn't end here. It actually just starts. And just go out, make an impact, and love people in the same way that I did." Yeah, and I went off on a tangent.
Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And for our students here, their comfort zone is something that they don't even realize exists sometimes. They will say, "Well, you mean offices don't have air conditioning in developing countries?" I said, "That's the tip of the iceberg. You got to go deeper than that." And so what they find is that, what does it mean when they're out of their comfort zone? That means they don't have internet. Sometimes they don't have electricity all the time. They have maybe water, but not hot water. They take a bucket shower. That's cold water over your head. They learn about these things. That's how the rest of the world lives, except for about 5% of the population that is living like we're living here in the States. So they learn about those things. But I think in the classroom, if professors will open up the dialogue, and we do have the dialogues here, and bring people in who are working on these problems daily, and to see the freshness of the students that are interested in these issues. Because they need to be, the people doing nonprofits need to be re-energized as well. Students do that. They do it to me every day, and I know they do it to you too. And we love that. I mean, that gives us, we're operating on fumes sometimes, and the students come in and all of a sudden they're pumped, and so are we. And we can connect them to how they can make a difference. That's really our job here. And the answer is basically pretty simple. It's really how we can make people's lives better in one way or another, which also means better campuses, better communities, better countries. But it's how we can do that and helping people help themselves to have a better life.
Jerry inspired you to be the best version of yourself. He inspired you to push further, to not accept no for an answer, to always go beyond where you think you could go. In Jerry's honor, we really want to bring together all of the social impact initiatives we've been working on campus. We want to bring together Project Civitas and the Citizenship Project, and we want to create a Center for Citizenship and Civility. It's because of his impact on us as a community that we really realize that bringing all of these initiatives together can create something really special for us as individuals, but really special for our community.
I think besides the Social Impact Lab, he leaves behind a legacy of trying. Even if you think somebody's going to say no, try anyway. Because not trying is really the tragedy. And he always wanted us to try.
Jerry's legacy on this campus and really in the world can be summarized in probably the most abused, used word in the world, which is love. I think loving comes easy to humans for the most part. Loving well is a bit harder, knowing exactly how to love, sort of intelligent love, but I think the hardest is loving consistently, and that's something Jerry did all the time. He loved consistently. He would check up on you again and again and again. There were projects we did and I would reach out to the organization and they don't respond, and he'd say, reach out again. And I'll just reach out again, and then he'd say, reach out again. And that kind of persistent love is really what changes the world.